Hi guys, hi, how's it going? How y'all doing today? Hopefully today finds you well. You're probably tired of seeing me in this shirt because I think this is the third video that I've recorded today, but this is an intro video to my collection and declutter series that I do here every single year. So you will see me in this shirt a lot of times because I do one intro and outro for all of these, and I just am so excited to get started on these. I have not done them yet. I typically will record this video after I've already completed at least one or two of them, but I want to make sure that I've got this recorded so I can start just doing them and pumping them out and getting them out there for you. This is typically a 7-part video series here on my channel every single year. I go through every part of my makeup inventory, and truth be told, like, you're probably not going to see a lot of decluttering happening this year in any of the categories. I break down all the categories in my makeup inventory into all different kinds of videos. If I did it all at the same time, it'd be like a 7-hour video, and at the end of the day, I will probably compile them all into one video after we're done with these and then just put it onto my channel as one video. But that is a very long video to expect anybody to watch, so I do them all separately. There's typically 7 or 8 videos in this series, and I hope that you're here for it. This is walking through every single item in my makeup collection, as well as maybe some declutters of those items in my makeup collection. We talk about the products, what I like about them, what I don't like about them. Sometimes we do swatching of the things. So you're going to hear maybe some reviews of some of the products here. You're going to see maybe some swatches of the products here, and you're going to see you're going to see my collection in entirety. So I hope that you're here for it. For those of you new here, hi, my name is Donna. I'm a lover of all things high-end, colorful beauty and self-care. And ultimately, these videos that I do on YouTube here, they are my self-care. I enjoy talking about makeup. Nobody in my real life wants to talk about makeup like you want to listen to me talk about makeup. So I choose you. Hopefully you choose me. And at the end of the day, I hope that you want to subscribe before you go. Let me know down in the comments section. Hit me up down there. Let's strike up a conversation, but also let me welcome you personally to my channel. And for those of you not new, thank you so very much for continuing to come back and watch my videos and just show me the love. I appreciate all of you so much. And with that said, let's roll into this video where we are walking through a piece of my makeup inventory. All right, so let's talk about my main category, eyes. In my main category, eyes, I have liquid liners, pencil liners, potted liners, shadow primers, shadow sticks, liquid and cream shadows, and then glitter and pigment. And this right here is my potted liner section. These two things I don't really know where to put. I guess I could put them in face palettes, but that doesn't make sense to me because this is where I'm going to use them likely. So I did just increase my potted liner section by 2 because I feel like that's where these go, where they make the most sense. That said, my eyes category has 7 sections, and those are the 7 sections that we are going through today. So again, these are my potted liners. And I know, again, we might be looking at this going, yeah, but that's a brow pomade, Donna. You're right. But this is the section that I use it in. So I actually found this to be a really great eyeliner for my eyes. And it doesn't have any kind of like fibers or anything in it. So it actually works really well. It's in a really pretty shade of brown. This is in 3.5 natural medium brown. It's too brown for my eyebrows, so I started trying to multitask it and use it in other ways, and I use it as an eyeliner. And you can see I've got quite a bit of use out of that as an eyeliner. Most of that usage came as an eyeliner. So I have that. I have the Bobbi Brown Longwear Gel Eyeliner. This one's in Sepia Ink, which is also a brown, but it is a much darker brown than the brow pomade is. This one actually appears almost black on my eyeliner when I use it as an eyeliner, so I keep both in my collection for that reason. I have also used this one quite a bit. And I just keep them really tightly shut, you guys, and they're still really creamy. I have 4 from Melt. And the 4 I have from Melt are Terrible Vision, which came out of the Nightmare Before Christmas collection. This one is like a burnt orange. It is starting to dry up and crack, but then when I stick my finger in it, it's still really moussey, so I don't feel like I need to get rid of it anytime soon. Again, I just keep them really tightly closed. I like Hercules with them and keep them closed in that way. This one is in the shade Haze. I think this one was also part of one of the collabs. This one I haven't even used. It's a metallic purple. I do want to use it. I just haven't. This one is in the shade Afterlife. You can see this one is very dried out. I just use some Duraline in it when I go to use it. Although I do think this one might be just too dried out now. Yeah, this one's gonna have to go because it is too dried out. And I knew that that was probably going to be a problem. If I remember, let me just tell you something, you guys. These Melt ones don't last nearly as long as all the other ones that I've had in my collection. I'm not sure why, but I mean, they're amazing, but they just don't last very long. This one is Master of Fright. This one also came from the Nightmare Before Christmas collection. And this is what this one looks like. Also has not been used, but you can see there's no like cracking in this one. So this one is staying pretty decently moisture rich. This one I did use quite a bit. So it had been opened and closed multiple times, and that might be why it is super dry, but that one will go. These ones are all KVD, and these ones are so old, you guys, but they're still really decently moisture rich. This one I just stuck my finger in the other day. This is in Lemmy Green. It's kind of like this blue base green, almost a tealy color. I really like it a lot as a mixer. That's usually what I use it for. This one I've used on its own multiple times. This one kind of bothers my eyes a little bit, but always has. So it's not because it's old. It just has always bothered my eyes. I think it's because of the color of it. I have a burgundy eyeliner by Natasha Denona that bothers my eyes the same way. It's got to be something that's in the pigments for these burgundy ones. This one is in the shade Aubergine. This one is in the shade Roxy Purple. I do imagine that these also will have to be decluttered at some point very soon. This is the red one that I have. This is in the shade Scarlet. I'd like to hold on to this one because it is a really great red, but it does look like it is drying out quite a bit. I think though, yeah. See, I just put my finger in these ones the other day, testing them all out, and they all seem super, I mean, really moisture rich still. So I just can't get rid of them just because supposedly they're expired and I shouldn't be using them. Like, they go on top of my eyes. I understand that that is a very awful place to use an expired product potentially, but it's not like it's going in my eye because I'm putting it on my lid, which is the same place that I put, you know, eyeshadows that aren't supposed to be used on my eyes. So this is in the shade Whiteout. I actually love this for mixing and have used this one quite a bit. I mean, to the extent that it's pretty discolored, but just the top layer of it. So there's that. And then I have this one, which is in the shade Daffodil, which is a brilliant yellow, and I am super glad to have that in my collection. You know, KVD, these came out when it was still owned by Kat Von D. These also came out when they were called Super Brow products, so they're considered a brow product, but I use them as eyeliners. These are really the best because they're waterproof, they go nowhere. And then I recently, you guys will see this in my, I did a separate haul video outside of my makeup rehab because I did haul in a bunch of stuff with the gift cards that I got for Christmas. So I wanted you guys to see that separately because some of it is makeup and some of it is not. I wanted you guys to see what I bought for myself with the gift cards I got for Christmas. These are two of the things that I purchased. And they're the Made by Mitchell color cases. This one you could argue is more of a like a foundation face palette, but because it is, but honestly it's an all over the face palette. But I don't see me using these. I mean, would I use them for a foundation? Yes. Each one of them came with a little spatula dude for like digging stuff out and mixing yourself, which I love and I like to try. But I feel like I'm going to use these a lot. I just don't know where to put them, you guys. I can't put it in my foundation collection because I just won't use them if it comes to like a foundation collection. But I will use them if they're in here, they're visible to me, and they're in with some of the liners that I use for graphic liners. So that is where I'm putting this. This is a Made by Mitchell color case in Essentials is what this one is called. And this one is called Electrics. And it's got all kinds of different colors in it. And this one will be used for sure for graphic liners. So that is why I stuck it in here. I feel like it is the perfect place for these to be. So in this collection, technically we had 12. I added 2 recently, so we would have had 14 in this collection, and we are decluttering 1. So that makes this 13 instead of 14, and that will be it for potted liners. I think we did a good job. I brought in 2, I'm decluttering 1, and this one really did need to be decluttered. Okay, next let's talk about pencil eyeliners, and this is my pencil eyeliner collection. There are supposed to be 39 pencil liners here, so let's count. Yes, there are 39 pencil liners here, and I likely will keep them all. I'm going to start with my blacks and browns because there isn't a lot of those in my collection because I've been trying to kind of like work through all my blacks and browns. I don't have the new one that I just purchased in this number. I don't even know where that one is. Oh my gosh, you guys, it was right in the same drawer. It was just still in its box. So we were supposed to have 39 in here, and I haven't added the new items into this yet, so I'm adding that now. That means we should have 40. We counted that we did have 39. This one would make 40. So most of these eyeliners are colored, and I keep a plethora of colored liners because I like using them on my lower lash line and then buffing them out, or in my tight line just to give and I look a little bit of something something. So I don't have a lot of black. I've been trying to work through my black ones and my brown ones because I truly only need 1 black and 1 brown. The rest can be all the colors of the rainbow, and that would not offend me. Will any of these go? Likely not. I think that they're all pretty great, and I think that they all still work really, really well. I have 3 black ones in my collection right now. I have this one, which is by Araceli. This is the Ojos Perfectos gel pencil liner in black. This is my next black liner to open up and start using because it is the next one in the rotation of black ones. I've been on a mission to get down to 1 black liner in my collection, and I will get there probably late this year, maybe early next year. And I say that because these are the only 3 I have, and this one is my current one in use, and it is the Clinique High Impact Gel Tech Eyeliner. I love this guy, but it is to the point where I can't roll this up anymore, and I can't get anything out of it anymore. So it is going to be in my empties for the next makeup rehab. So this one I just opened and started using because it is the next one in my black rotation. Because I just opened this one up and started using it, when I got stuff that I purchased with the gift cards, I also purchased a new black eyeliner. This one is the 24/7 Glide On in the shade 0 by Urban Decay. I've used this before. I liked this. I had it in a little like sample, and I like this. It's a brighter, like almost shiny black eyeliner without it being shiny, if that makes any sense. And I really, really like this one more than I like Perversion. So I did pick up 0, which is black. And when this one is gone, I will use this one. At the end of the day, I need to decide which is my perfect black eyeliner. I really like the Lancome one that I was using at the beginning of last year and finished up. I really also like this one. I think that this one is beautiful. And I know I like this one as well because I've used a sample size of this. But I only want one black eyeliner in my collection at the end of the day. So right now I currently have 2, and I will keep it at that. I don't know how I feel about this one yet, and I also know that if it moves or transfers or anything like that, I likely will not keep it, which is why I purchased this one. I don't know anything about the brand Araceli, so I was kind of fearful of that being my only black because I do use it on my tight line almost every day. This is my only brown one. This is Urban Decay Demolition. This has taken me 4 flippin' ever to get through. It is such a great brown eyeliner pencil. I use it a lot, honestly, on my lower lash line just to buff out and across my lid. I love the Urban Decay liners. They do such a great job of staying put and staying put long term. So this is the only brown I have in my collection. It will stay. Then I have these ones from Natasha. I have a green one in the shade Willow, a kind of like mustardy yellow one in the shade Fuchsia, and a bright green one in the shade Camu Camu, and then a burgundy one in the shade Burgundy. And you guys just heard me say this one drives my eyeballs bonkers, but you can see it is the one that I've used the most. It used to be this size. I love this eyeliner. It's just such a really pretty burgundy shade, and I mean just slightly blackened enough to look like a black, but also burgundy enough to look like something special in your eye looks when you put it specifically on your tight line. It gives just a little bit of a difference to the tight line appearance. Camu Camu is a really beautiful bright yellow green, which rivals this guy here, so I'm really happy to have that. I use this one a lot in my inner corner. This Willow shade is almost too on the eye, buffed out. This is almost too teal in my opinion. I don't use it nearly as much because of that. I do a lot of green eye looks because green's my favorite color, but this is almost too teal for those green eye looks, so I don't use it nearly as much as I could, but I still love it a lot. And then this one, which is in the shade Fuchsia, is a really beautiful, I mean truly beautiful mustard yellow. This is my only one from Ulta Beauty. This one is an automatic eyeliner in Metallic Moss. This is on my planned pan for 2026. It's a really beautiful, kind of shiny, but not too shiny, green eyeliner. This was recently in my Project 10 Uses. Super easy for me to wear. Like I said, I do a lot of green eye looks because green's my favorite color. And this was a spectacular shade to bring into the mix and use on my tight line, my lower lash line, all the things. This is, I believe, my only NYX eyeliner, and this is one of the, Wonder pencils that are supposed to help you brighten up your lower lash line to give your eyes like a whiter appearance. I don't use it a whole heck of a lot, but I do like having it in my collection. This is my only one from Pixie. This is in the shade Rose Gold, if I remember correctly. I think what makes it hard, honestly, is that it's also like metallic writing on a metallic pencil thing. Rose Glow. It's like rose gold metallic writing on like a rose gold outer casing, so it's really hard to see. Anyways, this is in Rose Glow. It's my only one by Pixie, and I've only used it a handful of times. I don't wear metallic very often, but I do kind of like this one. It is more taupey than I think it is like rose gold, which doesn't make any sense as far as the name goes in my humble opinion, but it is pretty, so I will keep it. Let's see, I think those are my only one-offs. Oh, this is the only one left that I have in my collection from Smashbox. You guys, this one is so dang old, but when I wear it, it doesn't pull, it's super easy to use, and it's a really beautiful like inner corner shade, or like, honestly, it's like the metallic version of this guy for my eyes. It just makes, when I use it on my lower lash line, it makes my eyeballs look brighter and bigger, more awake, so I keep it around. And it, so far, isn't bothering my eyes and doesn't pull like the other shades were when I finally got rid of those. All right, so then we have these two from Odin's Eye. These were a gift to me from my friend Andy. One is in the shade 04 and one is in the shade Avocado, or 05. I believe this one is called Avocado and this one is called Mint and this one is called Avocado. It's been a while since I looked them up, but that's what I have them as in my collection, in my spreadsheet. So this one is Mint. You guys, isn't that so pretty? Andy sent these to me way back in the day because she doesn't wear a lot of green. She knows green's my favorite color, and she thought I'd get more use out of these, and I really have used them multiple times. So, and then that one is Avocado, which is a really pretty, like almost camouflagey green. This Mint kind of leans a little bit blue, so it goes really well with blue and green eyeshadow looks. I have two from MAC. I emptied a MAC eyeliner in the past, but these are the two I have left. I have Permanent Vacation, which is the yellow, and Pool Shark, which is the green. This one is Pool Shark. And this is such a pretty green, and it's kind of got a little bit of a sheeniness to it. So I really appreciate that in my lower lash line. And then this one is Permanent Vacation, and it is just a slightly different version of yellow than any other yellow that I have in my collection. I think this is kind of like a doldrum yellow, but it is really pretty on like an inner corner or a lower lash line. It also brings a little something to a tight line, to be honest. And it's a lot more pale than say, and a lot less green than say this shade here, which is the Natasha Denona Camu. This one has a little bit more of a like chartreusey feel to it, whereas this one looks a little bit more pastel. So I keep those around, and then I have two outside of the black one from Clinique. I have two other ones from Clinique. I have the Black Honey and then the Deep Denim. And Black Honey, I wish was a lot more burgundy than it actually is. I feel like it should be a lot more burgundy, but that is, it appears more of a brown in an eye look, which I'm grateful for. I really like it. Like I said, I really like my black high impact gel tech liner, so why wouldn't I like these ones? They're just so good, and once you get them on, they absolutely go nowhere. But I wish that Black Honey one was just a tad bit more burgundy. And then this one, which is the Deep Denim, is a really beautiful navy blue that I use on my tight line a lot. Really love it. Look at the colors. They're really just kind of subdued and bleh. Besides the brown and the black and Urban Decay, I also have these ones from Urban Decay. This one is High Vibes, this one is LSD, and this one is Tiger's Eye. So this one is kind of a metallic olive shade. It's really very pretty. LSD is a metallic midnight shade. It's got a lot more like sparkle to it than I initially want, but it looks really good on a lower lash line buffed out. And then Tiger's Eye is a metallic kind of bronze. It reminds me a lot, honestly, of the Pixie one, but this one is just slightly more like pink than the Pixie one is. The Pixie one is like antique bronze, whereas this one I feel like is a little bit more rose gold. I have 5 from ColourPop, and all 5 from ColourPop are the multi-chrome cream gel liners. These I think are beautiful, don't get me wrong, but maybe not worth the hype. I don't guess I like a multi-chrome liner because I don't feel like the multi-chrome liners do everything that they boast to do, and maybe do but don't look as awesome as you think that they're going to look. Like, that's a really beautiful purple. Looking over the top at it, it looks more like almost a red, but then like has this like gold flip to it. But I just don't feel like it does that in an eye look. It's a good purple liner, to be honest. This one's a good blue liner, but it's supposed to be like a blue to purple. They're very creamy and very nice, honestly. Really easy to use. This one is supposed to be like a green to turquoise. This one is supposed to be like a teal to purple, I do believe. And this one is supposed to be a pink to like orange. But like, I just don't feel like they take up enough space to flip in the way that they should. And that's also why I haven't picked up any of the Danessa Myricks ones, even though I wanted them there for a while. But I don't feel like these take up enough space to flip like they should. So why then would the Danessa Myricks ones do that? So let me know if you know differently, but I think these are beautiful and they work really easy. And when they do, you know, when they do kind of flip, they are truly stunning. Give you something just a little bit extra on an eye look, but I just don't feel like they're cracked up to be. And the rest of my eyeliners are from LA Girl. These are eyeliners that some of them I purchased, some of them I got in gratis. All the pastel ones I think I got in gratis, and all of the Shockwave ones I think I purchased, is how it goes. The pastel ones, they are really pretty and they go well with a lot of eye looks in the inner corner, I would say. I use them more in that way. This one is called Magic Mint. As you can see, I'm not really sure. I think that that's a mint. I do think that that has a little bit of a chartreusiness to it, but I don't mind it. And it is slightly different from all the other greens in my collection. Forgive my hands for the eczema that's on them as I swatch them. I'm so sorry, you guys. This one is in baby pink. This one is in lavender. They're so soft, I'm afraid I'm going to break them almost every single time I use them. This one is in powder blue. And like I said, I really like these for inner corner for sure. This one is in Sunshine, definitely a pastel yellow. And then this one is in Marshmallow, which is just a white. Inner corner, perfection, to be honest. And then these ones are ones that I purchased myself. If any of my eyeliners were to go, it would likely be these, because I do feel like these and this one are the oldest ones in my collection. And if any were to go, it would be these ones because of age. But these ones still perform really, really well. And I love these bright ones, these Shockwaves. And some of these are honestly lip liners that I use as an eyeliner. Don't listen to me. If you don't feel like you should be using them as eyeliners, don't. I do. This one is in the shade Pop. It's a really beautiful pop of like hot pink. This one is in Vivid, and it's kind of a different color purple. I don't really like this one as much, but I have used this one quite a bit. It's just too milky in my humble opinion. This one is called Blaze, and it is a beautiful fuchsia. This one is called Fresh, and this one is so pretty, you guys. I love this one on my lower lash line. This one is called Electric, and it is just a really pretty electric blue. I think that this one feels drier than the rest of them do, so if any of them were to go, it would be that one likely. This one is in Fiery. Actually, this one feels pretty dry too. I might declutter these two. This one is in the shade Screamin', which is a beautiful bright yellow, quite a bit different than the other yellows here. And then this one is in the shade Outrage, which is a really like hot coral almost. So I do think I'm gonna get rid of these two because, well, you can see the blue one is hardly ever used anyways. The red one I have used quite a bit, but I do think that those two felt really dry and crumbly as opposed to the rest. So I will hold on to the other ones and get rid of those two. So we're decluttering 2 out of these. We had 40 to start, which includes the new one, and we are decluttering 2. So that takes us to 38 that we are keeping, and I'm okay with that. Okay, these are my liquid liners, and I have 9 in this collection. These 2 are open and in use. I typically only have 1 eyeliner open and in use at a time as far as the liquid ones go, but this is a black and this is a brown, so I use them, you know, at different times, so I think it's okay. The brown one gets used quite a bit less. I think it will last quite a bit longer than the black one for sure. But I just emptied a black liquid liner in, I think, December of last year. So this one's the one that I opened up when I finished that one off. So it is fairly new in rotation. This one also is fairly new in rotation, but it gets open, like I said, less frequently than this one does, so it will last quite a bit longer. These 2 are in use, so they will stay. And then these ones are brand new in box. This one I just got in a gift with purchase from Ulta Beauty, and it is a NYX Epic Ink liner in the shade Midnight Rise. I've tried a NYX Epic Ink liner that I didn't 100% love, but I've heard that when I tried that one many moons ago that they have since redone their component and their formula and all the things. So I'm really glad to have received this. I wish it were a black, but I'm really glad to have received this in a free gift with purchase because I'm anxious to try it. I have an ABH liquid liner that is likely going to go to my mom. This is another product that she likes to get for me when she can. And she likes this kind of liquid liner, which is like a liner that comes on a brush, a liquid liner that comes as brush form instead of pen form. I don't really like that form, but she does. So I've held on to this one for her. It will likely be decluttered sometime this year to her, but I'll keep it for now. This is my black roller liner. I love the black roller. I like the Benefit roller liner quite a lot, actually. It's one of my favorites. The KVD tattoo liner is probably my number 2. Hen Dash would be my number 1, if I'm honest with you, but that one's just super hard to come by. And I have to order it and I have to wait for it. So this one is my number 2 in terms of longevity, how long it lasts, ease of use, all the things. And then this one would likely be my number 3. So I have one of each of those in backup. I have the Glamnetic. This is like a Glamnetic eyeliner slash glue. This is like a lash glue slash eyeliner, and this is in the shade Deep Space, which is just a black eyeliner. I have the Lancome Idol liner, which is a wonderful black eyeliner as well. And then I have this one from LA Girl, which I haven't tried. This is the Artist pen, and it's kind of thick, like a Sharpie, which makes me want to try it. So maybe it'll be my next black eyeliner, but none of these are going to go anywhere. I don't feel like this is an out of control category. There are 9 items in this category. These 3 will likely leave this year, which will leave me 6 items in this category. So I'm not offended by the amount of liquid liners that I have, so all of these will stay. The next size category I have is eyeshadow primer. None of these are going anywhere. All of them are relatively new to my collection. Probably the oldest one is this one, and it's really not that old. I have 2 products that are considered glitter glues. I have 2 that are considered, could be a cream eyeshadow, but I use them as an eyeshadow primer. And then I have 3 like standard primers, right? So 7 items in this collection, and all 7 will stay. These 2 are the glues that I have. I have a NYX glitter glue, which is perfectly fine. It's a great glitter glue and I like it a lot. And then I decided when I got my gift card from my friend Andy for my birthday that it was to Davina, and she talks a lot about this glue base for specifically for indie shadows. It's called Specular, and it's again by Davina. It's called the Sparkle and Shimmer Glue Base. This is really, really great. I really, really like this a lot. And I, like Andy, will use this one for my like standard shimmers like Natasha Denona, Pat McGrath, those kinds. And then I will use this one for like my Unearthly or my like Ainsley Rain or something like that shimmers, because it just holds on to those like kind of chunky shimmers just a little bit better and makes them a little bit more spectacular. So I have both of those in my collection and will not get rid of either one of those. For my 2 pots, this one is MAC Paint Pot and Painterly, and you can see I've used the poop out of this. This is actually, I think, my 3rd paint pot that is an eye primer shade in my collection. I do use this sometimes as a shadow all in and of itself, but not very often. It's mostly used as a shadow primer. Well, my friend Andy just spoke about getting one of these Morphe Solo Artist Priming Cream shadows because somebody had told her that they were a dupe for the MAC paint pots. And I decided that I wanted to test out those waters. Now, these are 2 different shades. I couldn't find a shade that was similar to this one, honestly. There's this one, and then there's one that is just slightly more yellow, and then it just goes from there. But I didn't find one that was close enough to the shade to shade dupe it, but I am going to try it and test out the formula dupe because this is so much less expensive than these MAC ones. So if these work the same way, why not choose a less expensive option, even though it is Morphe? I feel like you maybe get less product in here than you do in the paint pot because this glass is about the same width, but I can see the MAC one in the glass, whereas I can't see the Morphe one in the glass. So I'm not sure, but it looks very similar, very much the same. I love that it has like a little plastic like seal over the top of it, so even if somebody like breaks open the box, they can't get into it as it sits on the shelf. But I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna test it out, see if it is the same. And I like, honestly, that's a slightly different color because then I can have both of them open at the same time and it's not going to not make sense. This is in the shade Airplay. Again, this one's in the shade Painterly. I feel like Airplay is just a little bit more brightening than Painterly is. And then my 3 standard eyeshadow primers are these ones. I used to really, really love the Smashbox 24-hour Photo Finish Shadow Primer. I don't 100% know why I used to love it, but it's a meh product for me right now. It is an eyeshadow primer that I'm not always pulling for, but I wouldn't be opposed to using. So there's that. I have the Ulta Beauty Matte Veil Eye Primer, which is one of my favorite and a standard in my collection. This one is just a sample size because it came in a gift with purchase package, but it is a standard for me. I love this eye primer actually so much, so I was really happy to get it in a gift with purchase. And I just recently got another gift with purchase from purchasing some stuff from Ulta Beauty, and the one that came in it is the tinted. I by no means think that that is the same. It is obviously a tinted base for like a shimmer shadow, and I don't like it. I feel like it made my eyes oily, period. My eyelids are not oily. This one does not do the same thing. So if you've tried the tinted one and didn't love it, this is not the same thing. The matte veil is beautiful. It's a great eye primer. I love it a lot. It just goes on, smooths my eyeshadow, and has a slight bit of a tint, enough of a tint to it to kind of like blank out my eyelids so that I have a clear, consistent base to apply shadows on top of. And then there's this one, which is the ABH eye primer. And this one is slightly more, this one kind of exploded on, it actually was my fault, but I thought it was this. And so I was trying, this one, it takes an effort to get anything out. So I like squeezed down on this so hard because I thought it was that, and accidentally like spit half of my eye primer out, which is super fantastic. But this one I use when I am using more colorful shadows in an eye look, because this gives me a slightly whiter base than this one does. And it's also slightly drier than this one is. I also have like liquid eyeshadows that I like to use as bases also when I have crazy colors on my eyelids. These two specifically I want to potentially always have in my collection for regular eyeshadow primers, and then these two will hopefully always be in my collection for eyeshadow bases. The great news about that is this one is relatively inexpensive because it's NYX. I think it's $13, I think. This one is really inexpensive, maybe 10. This one's really inexpensive because it's considered a mini, and it only cost me $13, although I've never seen a full size of it, if I'm honest with you. This one is, even its full size is, I think, $13, and it's quite large. It's full size. This is only $10. And it is huge. So of the eye primers that I want to always keep in my collection, not one of them is over $15. So I'm happy that those are the eye primers that I choose to keep in my life. And of the 7 eye primers that I have, all 7 of them will be staying. The next section of eye products that we're going to go over is my shadow stick collection. I am a sucker for a shadow stick. I really do like a shadow stick. These work really well on the lower lash line to buff out as an eyeliner. They work really well along your lid space as an all-over eyeshadow, one and done eyeshadow, even a 2 and done eyeshadow. They're just really quick and easy, and I learned to use these more while I was traveling for work because it was just so easy to throw these in a bag and not have to take any eyeshadows that might break or whatnot. So that is how I got super familiar with these and where I really used these the most. I will be honest with you, since having been laid off, I don't use these nearly as much as I was, but I still really love a shadow stick. They're just really easy to use. Right now, I have 20 in my collection, and these are all 20. This one is the only one that is in use every day, and this one is the NYX Jumbo Stick in the shade Milk. And it is being used every day because it's in my project pan, has been in my project pan for quite some time. It's just a really brilliant white shadow stick that I love a lot. I used to use these a lot as eye primers because I really liked how the eyeshadow looked over the top of them, and as a matter of fact bought a NYX Jumbo Stick in black, which is the shade Black Bean, I believe. Yeah, for like my multi-chrome shadows to go over the top of. But I've used it. I mean, I bought it and I haven't even sharpened it one time. So I just feel like it's maybe not as black as I want it to be. But also, these just aren't the avenue for me for eyeshadow primers anymore. Much like the topic that I was just talking about in eye primers and certain things making your eyes look oily at the end of the day, I feel like these are just too emollient for me to use as an eyeshadow primer for other eyeshadows that I'm putting on top of them, which doesn't make them the best eyeshadow stick, if I'm being honest with you, because they do kind of tend to move. However, in large spaces, I should say, because when I use this as a upper, like a brow bone highlight or as an inner corner shadow, this works perfectly in that way. When I use it on my face as a highlighter, it works perfectly in that way. I just don't like it as an eye primer anymore. And would venture to say I wouldn't want it all over my lid as a white eyeshadow anymore either. I could say the same thing for the black, but like these still move around actually quite a bit. So they're not perfection, whereas you'll see with a lot of these, and those had been sitting for a minute, right? So you'll see with a lot of these, they just don't move like that. So that's, I think, why I stopped using those ones as much, which really kind of stinks because they're really affordable. And at one point in time, I remember them being fantastic, but I don't remember them in that way anymore. This is the only one that I have from Benefit, but this also is not really a shadow stick. This is a brow bone highlighter, but I like it a lot for inner corner as well as brow bone, and can see this being used all over my lid as an eyeliner, because this one doesn't move quite as much as these two do. And that one was sitting there for far less time than those two were. We need to remember that when we look at, yes, it moved, but it doesn't move quite as much, and it was sitting there for far less time. I have two from Charlotte Tilbury. These are the Color Chameleon shadow sticks, and one is in Smoky Pillow Talk and the other one is in Pillow Talk. I like these. They're perfect. They're fine in color. One is a little bit more like of a tawny brown color, and one of them is a little bit more of a pinky color. You can see I've used them because they definitely need sharpened, but these two make a beautiful, almost one and done eyeshadow look, to be honest, and they truly don't go anywhere. I'm going to let them dry for as long as I let these guys dry before I try and move them. I'll show you guys in a minute once I get all of these on here. These are the only two that I have from Chanel. These are the Stilo Ombre et Couture eyeshadow liners, and they are in Dreamleaf, which is the green. And then I also have Nuage Blue, which is the blue one. These are both metallic, but they're really beautiful. This one is just a really beautiful kind of like, I don't know, seafoamy blue. And then this green one is a pretty like bright green. I love this green one specifically as an inner corner with some green eye looks. Just brings a little something to the table. They're beautiful. I have one from Thrive Cosmetics. This is called a Brilliant Eye Brightener in the shade Stella. It is, oops, I rolled that up far too much. Again, one of those like shades that is really pretty as a brow bone highlight or an inner corner. I have 4 from IT Cosmetics, 2 of which are matte and 2 of which are shimmer. This one is one of my favorites, honestly. This is in the shade Mighty Mauve, and it's just this really pretty mauvey taupe shade. This one is in Tenacious Tawny. I think that this one looks really good with the Charlotte Tilbury one, which is why I brought it up here. Like if you take this one and buff it out all over your lid, and then take the Charlotte Tilbury one and put it in the outer corner, and then this one along the lid, it's such a beautiful eye look. And then this one in Bold Bubbly is a champagne, kind of like a yellowed champagne shimmer. And this one in Gilded Gold, I think it is called. No, Bionic Bronze is kind of a more orange than rose tone of the same like kind of copper family as the Charlotte Tilbury one. Then I have 2 Two from Laura Mercier. This Laura Mercier one I actually also use as a face contour because it's just so perfect. This is in the shade Cobblestone. And it's honestly got a pretty perfect like gray tone to it that is great for especially lining or contouring like my under my lip. Then this one is the shimmer version of that, and it is in Smoky Quartz. And those make a pretty perfect, beautiful eye look together also as a almost one and done eyeshadow look. I love Laura Mercier's because you can tell which one is the matte and which one is the shimmer just by looking at her packaging. You can do the same thing with the cosmetics ones. I guess the Charlotte Tilbury ones you can as well at the ends there. One is matte, one is shimmer. The Bobbi Brown ones I don't feel like are the same way. I mean, I know that this little like nub in here at the end kind of gives it away for you, but you can't really just by a glance see which ones are matte and which ones are not. In addition to that, one of these is called a long wear cream liner stick, and these ones are called shadow sticks. So the biggest difference that I can tell is that this one is a smidge bit drier and is also pointed at the end, whereas these ones are rounded. And this one is also longer, but I think that there's the same amount of product in it. The bottom nubbin is also a little bit bigger, and the cap is the same color as the bottom nubbin. I do have 5 Bobbi Brown sticks. One is a mini that I actually got in a set that included this one and a vanilla, but I had a full-size vanilla, so I put the mini vanilla into a giveaway, I do believe. This one is in the shade Dusty Mauve, and it is a shimmer. A really beautiful taupey mauve shimmer. Goes really well with this shade too, it appears. I've never tried it together, but it does appear that it would be amazing. This one is taupe. And see, like this one is a matte, whereas this one is a shimmer, but there's not really any difference in the packaging except for that nubbin is shiny on this one. And if you're looking at it one way, sure, you might see that that one is shiny, but from like this angle, I can't tell. So I wish there was just another way to tell the difference between the mattes versus the not mattes. This one is in the shade Vanilla, and this one actually makes a really good eye primer at the end of the day as well. This one is in the shade Golden Bronze. I do believe that this one is also a shimmer. This one is in the shade Golden Pink, which is another shimmer. And this one is in the shade Rich Chocolate, and again is the liner versus the shadow stick. And when I say it's a little bit drier, I think that it's still pretty moisture rich, to be honest with you. But I think that this one moves around just a little bit more than the rest of them. So when I like go over these, you guys can see none of them are really moving. They really go nowhere, whereas these guys still move. So hopefully you can see why I don't use these as much as I use the rest of them these days. But I still keep them in my collection because they're still, you know, in there for a purpose. But if I were to declutter any of them, they would be those two. But really amazing eyeshadow sticks. You can tell I have kind of a color story that I prefer in eyeshadow sticks because they're meant to be easy. They're not really out there to be your like crazy, you know, artistic shadow to use in your like Instagram worthy eye looks maybe. They are just supposed to be easy one and done kind of products. That's after taking a makeup eraser with makeup remover on it to those guys. I mean, they really just do stick around. I have a shadow stick video on my channel also that I did for my friend Andy before she started using shadow sticks that I will have to see about putting in here. Again, this is my second and third attempt at trying to get these shades off of there. This is Charlotte Tilbury, and this one is, I think, Laura Mercier's Cobblestone. This one are all Bobbi Brown, and this one over here is It Cosmetics. They like to stay. They definitely like to stay. I'm not going to get those off my hands anytime soon. So let's try these eyeliners here. Yep. See, these are the kind of eyeliners you want in your life. They just stay forever. Look at those two guys. That blue one that I'm getting rid of from LA Girl, it just will not come off. Okay, I'm done trying to get those off. So none of these, oops, none of these are being decluttered. So I'm going to go ahead and put them back. If there were any that were going to be decluttered, like I said, they would be the next jumbo sticks. I just don't feel like they hold up as well as I once thought that they did. Okay, this is what I have in the last two sections of my eyeshadow, or my eyes section. Single shadows are in a, magnetic single shadows are in a completely different tab in my inventory, as well as potted shadows. I should actually like pull out the ones that I'm talking about then so we don't get confused. So let me do that. So these would be what is considered glitters and pigments in terms of my makeup inventory. I have to be honest, I do not use these hardly ever. I am a huge advocate for the We Hate Glitter party. I am not a big glitter fan, so I don't use like a lot of this stuff because it's glitter. But there are times and places for them, which is why I continue to keep them in my collection. And they're not bad, so I don't think it's harming anything to keep them in my collection. So let's start with this one, which is a pigment for me. This is the Mica Mia shadow pigment in the shade Beige. I by no means think this is beige. This is a really beautiful like peachy tone. I think that you can also see that. So I don't know why it's called beige, but I just learned how to really use a pigment to my advantage within the last couple of years. Just as a friendly reminder, I've only been doing makeup for as long as this channel has existed. Prior to that point, I never wore makeup, so I didn't really dabble in a lot of things until very late in life. So I just started learning how to use a pigment within the last couple years. It happened when I pulled this honestly into my deck of panning, and can appreciate a pigment for what it is versus getting pissed off at it for what it is. So I just don't use it very often, but it is beautiful. Before I would get mad at these because they didn't show up as brilliantly as I wanted them to, and I didn't really understand why they were the way they were, but I mean, that's really pretty, is it not? So I keep them now because I understand a little bit more how to use them. My dog is freaking out because one of the boys just got home. So the next one I have is this one. This is by Lenny, and this is in the shade Byron Bay. It is another like really pretty. These are like the original, I think, duochromes because they have this like really pretty like pink to gold. Boy, those look really similar, do they not? Just one's just slightly more pink than the other one. So I'll keep them both. I mean, again, I don't see any reason to get rid of it. They're just a powder. They're not going to go bad anytime soon, so it doesn't make any sense. The next one I have is MAC Chartreuse. This is so beautiful, and I love using this as an inner corner shadow. Look at how brilliant that is. So pretty. And I love the little vial that it comes in. The next one I have is Naked Cosmetics. This is Mother Nature. I shouldn't really be swatching all these. I told myself I was not going to swatch all these, and yet here I am swatching all these. I'm not going to swatch the glitters, you guys. That would be maddening. Okay, this one is in the shade Mother Nature. This one I used in a decapanning, and I told myself we were going to pan it. We were going to empty it. I had it in almost all year and decided that wasn't what we were doing anymore. But it was almost full when I pulled it into decapanning. I love using this as a nail polish, you guys. I've used all of these as nail polishes in the past. So smart. What a great way to use your pigments and give your nails a little bit of something extra that you wouldn't naturally think of. But I really do like this one. It is super pretty. It's just this like red base, but kind of like this kick of, I don't know that I can really showcase it. I don't really see it showcasing itself there, but it's so pretty. And then I have Jelly Pong Pong's Cosmic Light multi-functional pigment in the shade Pulsar. Is super pretty. Look at that. So pretty. Such a beautiful shade. That would make a really pretty nail polish also. It's kind of blue with gray and a little bit of purple in it. It's really pretty. And I know that you can't see all the shiftiness of these, but it's there, I promise you. Then we have Sydney Grace Ripples and Sydney Grace Rhyme. Sydney Grace Ripples is kind of like a white gold. These ones I feel like get everywhere when I open them up. And then this one is Ripples, and I think Ripples is, right? Yes, I think Ripples is a matte, but it is like a kind of a multi-chrome, almost white to purple, no base beauty. It is so pretty. They just get everywhere. I'd like to figure out a different way to house these for sure, so that they're not getting everywhere. Look at, so you see that is the underneath the undertone of that Sydney Grace shade that looks just kind of like nothing. Then I have, this one is a Lorac Luxe Diamond Cream eyeshadow in the shade Lace. You can see it's super broken up in there, but it is still beautiful and works beautifully. And when I do use it, I am excited that I have it. Look how beautiful that is. It's so shiny. And it literally takes hardly anything to get it to work. And this one has always been broken in there, but I mean, it's gotten worse with age, of course, and I store it like this, so probably doesn't, I store it sideways like this, so it probably doesn't help, but I think that that color is beautiful. This is Ciate London Marbled Metals Pressed Glitter in the shade Wicked. I am not putting this on my skin, but you guys can see the glitter chunks in there. It is a really pretty purple glitter. Then I have the MAC Spellbinders. I think I've talked to these up 100,000 times on my channel. They're called Spellbinder shadows because it's just magical what they do. But if you guys can see the lid, this is like a loose, finely milled glitter in here that I just usually will put my finger into and then tap it on an eye look. It just does something different for the eye look. I have that one, which is in the shade Stairs to the Stars. It is kind of a red. And then I have this one, which you can see is kind of green blue. Looks great on green blue eyeshadow looks. And this one is called Swing on a Star. I have two Marc Jacobs Sequins shadows. Again, these are glitter. Marc Jacobs isn't a brand anymore, but not a beauty brand anyways, but these are stunning and still beautiful and still work well. This is kind of like a brown with some gold and rose tones in there. So it's a really beautiful bronzy coppery color. And then this one is which is in the shade Topaz Flash. And then this one is in the shade Glam Noir. My goodness, me throwing stuff. And then it is just kind of a silver black. It's really pretty, really great for like an elevated eye look. I have to be honest, I use these more when I worked at Ulta Beauty. I don't think I've used them or even thought about them the whole year since I've been laid off. So there's that. I have one from Mellow in the shade Champagne. This is what they call a glitter chrome eyeshadow. It also has a little stopper in it, and it is a beautiful, like, just rosy color. Then I have this one by Tarte. This is a Tarte Chrome Pot Glitter Chrome eyeshadow. The other boy just got home, so now he's barking again. And this one is in the shade Martini, which is kind of like a beautiful olive tone. This is less glitter. This is kind of more along the lines of the Lorac one, just a really beautiful like metallic shade, but still super impactful shininess. So that's why it's kept in here. And then I have these two from Half Magic, which are glitter, and these are glitter pill liquid liner / shadows. This is the way to go if you're going to be using glitter, because this glitter goes on and goes literally nowhere and looks amazing. So if you do not have an affinity for glitter, but you want glitter in your collection, those are so pretty. This one up here is called Pretty Puddle, and this one is called Mercoise, and they're just really pretty. So again, the glitter and pigment section of my eyes category has 17 items in it. All 17 are staying. These are my cream and liquid eyeshadows. This is the last section of my eyes category. And this has 35 products in it. Likely none of these will leave. And I have to be honest with you guys, I cannot swatch them because my skin is terrible right now. Even though I want to swatch them for you because they're so beautiful and dynamic. A lot of them you can see through the packaging though, so I don't feel quite as bad about them. So I'm not going to swatch these. This one is my newest one. It is a MAC paint pot in the shade Princess Cut. This will likely stay on my vanity because I purchased it for purposes of just putting it on my eyes when I don't want to do my makeup but feel like I can't walk out without something on my eyes. So it's a really beautiful like pinky iridescent shadow with not really any kind of base. So I'm really excited to have it, and I like the paint pots. They're really, really good for eye primer. So I know it'll be a great one and done eyeshadow that's not really going to go anywhere at all day long and still bring some impact. I have these 4 Dazzle sticks from KVD. These I don't think got all the hype that they should have got back in the day when they were new and fresh and real out there. These are beautiful cream shadows that, man, just stay on the lid, don't really go anywhere. They're super impactful, super shiny. They're just really beautiful. This one's in the shade Ash Storm. It's a really beautiful taupey mauve shade. This one is in the shade Heat Burst, and it is a beautiful kind of coppery red. It has kind of this like orange undertone to it. This one is in Green Flash, and it is a beautiful green. And then this one is in Electric Bolt, and it is a really, really pretty perfect, like coppery gold color. Love it. Love those. I love all of these, if I'm being honest with you. The only one that could potentially go, I think, is this one. I'm not a huge fan of the Sydney Grace liquid eyeshadows. And this one is rather old in my collection and maybe just a slight bit dry. Okay, we will swatch that one just because. Yeah, I don't feel like that one's dry at all. That is so pretty. And it was one that was maybe on my list to get rid of. I just don't think that I will. Although, no, I think that these are two completely separate colors. I feel like I just said I wasn't going to swatch, and here I am swatching. Yeah, those are two completely different colors. So we will keep both of them, and I need to quit swatching. Let's go ahead and get these all out of the way. These are my About Face shadows. These are the matte fluid eye paints over here, and these ones are the holographic ones. As you can see, these are what would be considered multi-chromes, and they truly are beautiful, but these two are very similar. So I would say I don't really need both of them, but I am going to keep both of them because I do really love these so much. As you guys can see, I really kind of like the About Face ones a lot. This one is like a blue, purple, green shade, and it leans heavily green. This one is a yellow, green, kind of turquoisey shade, and it leans heavily like more of that gold green color. And then this one is blue, purple, golden, and it leans heavily blue. And I think that you guys can see that in the shades that you're seeing because those are the most present of the shades, but they're beautiful multi-chromes. And then these are all of the matte ones that I have, and these work multifunctionally in my collection. Number one, they're a great one and done eyeshadow. They're a matte eyeshadow. They're perfect for a matte eyeshadow. I use these two also as eyeshadow primers. This one when I want more vivid colors to pop on my lids, and this one when I want more multi-chrome regular shadows to pop on my lids. They're just really pretty. And then I also use all of these with this brush. I've said it before, as a colored mascara in my collection. They work perfectly on my eyes. Why shouldn't they also work on my lashes? So I have a good time with them, and they are not going anywhere. These two are my Danessa Myricks multi-chromes. These are the Twin Flames. This one is in the shade True Love, and it is kind of a blue to purple to green shade with a real heavy blue undertone. And then this one is Sweetheart, which is a gold, red, or orange, maybe green shade, which leans very heavily that golden orange shade. So love those. We'll keep them. These are my AF94, which is the sister brand, or the sister brand, I guess, to About Face. This just means About Face 94. This is like the kid version, I guess, of About Face. These are their marbled liquid shadows. They're called Swirled, and they're really super pretty. These I got in gratis at a conference with Ulta at one point in time with a bunch of other About Face products, and these are the only two things that I kept. Although I gave the blushes to my niece, and she loves the blushes, so they're not bad products, but these are the only two things that I kept. Dream Lover is the purple one, and the green one is Ex-Girlfriend, and I mean, they're truly beautiful. They're a little bit more thick than I like, but this section of this brand is made specifically for the younger generation, so I get it. I have two Lancome Idol tints. These are eye tints. I like these buffed out over the lid with just like a sheer wash, more than I like them like as a flat out eyeshadow on my lid space, but they're so pretty. I have shade 01 and 05, and I cannot remember which shades these are. Let me see if they're in my spreadsheet. 05, which is this one, is called Sandstorm. It's the first one I picked up. It's a really beautiful, like sheer orangey flecked glitter. It's so pretty. And then this one I got a couple months later in gratis, and this is called Sunburst. So really pretty shades there. And then I have this one by Stila, which is in the shade Oasis. It is kind of multi-chromatic. It's this really pretty rose gold color, but it's got a lot of like pink and orange and golden tone to it. It's kind of multi-dimensional on the eye, but isn't really a multi-chrome, if that makes any sense. And then this is my Ofra one in the shade Penthouse. I'm not even sure where I got this one, but this is just so pretty. This is super old though, but it still looks like really creamy. So I continue to hold on to it. It's a really taupey, like lavender shade. Really pretty, really pretty. So then I have these ones from Natasha Denona. These are her Chroma Crystal Liquid Shadows. And I have these two, which are Space and Disco. They came in a set way back when at Sephora during the holiday season. And I bought them, I think, before I had a lot of my Natasha Denona in my collection. These two are the larger ones. One is in the shade Sienna and one is in the shade Moonstone. This one is Sienna and this one is Moonstone. They're really pretty, you guys. They're so old in my collection, but they still work beautifully and they're not really dried up. I mean, look at that. It's just beautiful, and it's more beautiful sheared out than it is upright. And then this one is also Natasha Denona, and it's one of the chromium liquid eyeshadows in the shade Infranude, and it's her version of a multi-chrome, and I think that you can see that in there. It's kind of like red and green, and yeah, it's just so pretty. I wonder if you can see that more. Yes, look at those, you guys. So that one is About Face in Serendipity. This one is About Face in Luna. And this one is Inner World. These two are from Juvia's Place. They are Ajebo and High Life, and I don't think I needed both, if I'm honest with you. They are also multi-chromes, but they're a little bit different because they have a clear base to them. This one shifts blue and green, and I think a little bit of a lavender kicker in there. And then this one, High Life, is definitely like a turquoise, a teal, and a pink. So pretty, but those ones have more of a sheer base. Then I have these two things, which are the Danessa Myricks Color Fix Foils. This is in the shade Jewels. I got this in my Beautylish Lucky Box last year, and it is this really pretty, like peachy, like almost chartreusey, multi-chromy, flippy liquid shadow. It's just so pretty. And then this is a color shot by Rabanne that is in the shade Lavender Sky, and it isn't multi-chrome. It is just a straight up beautiful, like taupey lavender liquid eyeshadow, and none of those are going anywhere. I don't use them a whole heck of a lot, but they are super important in my collection. When I want them, I do want them. And I go through bouts that this is all I pull for, is a liquid eyeshadow. So there's that. So we didn't have anything that we decluttered in the brows category. We didn't have anything that we decluttered in the lashes category. and we had 3 things that were decluttering in the eyes category. I don't know if I said this in the intro, and if I didn't, I need to get a new intro out there, but I decluttered a lot last year and also was on a no-buy last year. So I don't have a lot in my collection that I feel like we will be decluttering this go round. These are only being decluttered because they're so dry you can't use them anymore. So that said, there's nothing in here that is too dry I can't use or that's bothering my eyes. So none of these are going to go anywhere. We started with 35 in this section. We're ending with 35 in this section. But overall, we decluttered 3 items in the eyes section, but there were other things that I brought in new recently in the eyes section. So we're actually up 3 from my initial inventory video a couple months ago. So that said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this eyes categories of my collection series that will be going on over throughout the month of March. Hit and miss here and there. It'll be the main video series that you guys are seeing in March. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I want to make sure that I go through all the parts with you because I do every single year. So with that said, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that you and yours are well. I hope that you are all safe and healthy and getting along as best that you can. I hope that you're all loving each other, being kind humans, and living your best life. And until next time, bye friends.